And a curve gets us underway. Central Arkansas going left to right in the opening half. Liberty wearing all red, going right to left. There's a fairly strong wind to start this one, John. It's mostly a crosswind, though. So as we see the action here, it's blowing from the near side of the pitch to the far side. And so for Liberty going toward the goal, it'll be a left to right crosswind.
Yeah, you got that right. And it could become a bigger factor as the evening goes on. As we know, bad weather moving into the area over the weekend. And McKinley Burkett trying to get off a shot early on. And just like that, Liberty is in the attacking end in an effective way. And we've watched them get off to very good starts early in the season here. They have become very good at getting the lead at home early. And as we will talk about as the game goes on, they love playing at home.
Yeah, they've been very strong, certainly. Have not suffered a defeat yet. Have won 4 out of the 5 they have played here, with the only tie being in conference play. That was against Stetson, and that's the only blemish, if you will, and not much of a blemish compared to the traditional definition, but that's the only blemish, if you will, for Liberty on the conference mark so far. 3-0-1, 10 points right now out of a possible 12 through 4 conference games.
Yeah, they are off to a great start, and that was a match, if you remember, they dominated that match. You know, a number of shots created, shots on goal, just unable to get another goal to go ahead and get the win that day, but they have really played well early on.
10 points is at the top of the table. Now, keep in mind, Lipscomb has only played 3 conference games so far, and they have a full 9 up to this point. Central Arkansas, in fact, just played them and became the first team to hold them scoreless in the first half. So that shows how dominant Lipscomb has been at times this year. As for this matchup for Central Arkansas, what are some of the keys, John?
Yeah, well, for the visitors, we've got know who you are. And Coach Bishop talked about the fact that, you know, they really haven't decided what style of play they're going to play. He mentioned the fact that when they play possession type game, that they are more effective, but they haven't landed on that all the time, and he would like them to land on that tonight. And then for the home team, the key was they are who we thought they were, meaning, you know, they played great at home. We knew they were a good home team, but they've really gone out and shown that in a big way, and they need to continue that here tonight. And, you know, I think Coach Wiedemeyer will tell you they are a more comfortable team at home. Now, having said that, they just came off of a 2-game road trip where they came out 2-0, and that was just a really good indicator for what kind of team they've got right now.
A couple of impressive results, especially the way they went about getting those wins and really dominating on the road. Jacksonville State 1-0 doesn't stand out in the final box score, but the way they played certainly stands out. And then a 2-0 victory at Kennesaw State. So a couple of shutouts. In fact, Liberty has 3 consecutive shutout victories in ASUN play.
Yeah, they have defended really well. They've been more prolific in the attacking end than we thought they were going to be. I got to watch that Jacksonville State game, Kyle. We talked about it before we came on the air, and I felt like it was one of the better games I've ever watched them play. They only won that match 1-0, but they thoroughly dominated that team on the road. And then after the Kennesaw State game, Coach Wiedemeyer actually made the statement that he felt like that was the best match they've ever played on the road, and I did not get to watch that, but if it was better than the match before, it had to be a really good performance.
A foul there a moment ago on McKinley Burkett, who's second in the conference with 4 goals this season. Taylor Webb drives it toward the top of the 18. Webb, one of the leaders that Central Arkansas is relying on this season, being in her grad year. This is, as a lot of teams are, a mix of some veteran leadership in some key spots, but also blending in that youth and inexperience as it can. Central Arkansas is coming off of a tremendous year. They went 6-3 in the conference. 9-9 ended up being their overall record, but that conference mark was good enough to earn the #1 seed in the ASUN West Division. And as we mentioned at the top, they were 4-1 on the road within that. So they had some very, very impressive results.
Yeah, they really did. And that that was just a great way for them to get off in a new conference like that and to really come out and perform well. And you can look at it one of two ways. Either the rest of the conference didn't know much about them, but likewise they didn't know much about the rest of the conference, and they went out and played very well on the field.
Yeah, it's a two-way street in that case. Had a chance to talk to Jeremy Bishop, head coach for Central Arkansas in his 11th year, and that's something he talked about in a new conference. You have to learn the opponent's style. You're not just that. For example, this road trip, you're learning about the town and the campus you're going to and the playing facility, everything that goes into it. It's an education experience for the players, coaches, and everyone, because everything is truly new in conference play. This year, he feels they have a better grasp on that. But with that being said, this is the first time Central Arkansas has ever visited Lynchburg, Virginia. So there is a sense of newness there.
Yeah, one great thing when teams come in here for the first time and they get a look at the field, the overall quality of the pitch, they've got to love that. It's a beautiful pitch to play on, and all players love coming here.
Meredith King working with the ball right now. These two teams did meet last year, and that was a victory for Liberty, 4-1, in fact, and that took place in Conway at Central Arkansas. So only the second all-time meeting between these two programs, and both of them as members of the ASUN Conference. Central Arkansas this year 3-6-2 overall. That includes a 1-2-1 mark so far in conference play. So that is Central Arkansas with 4 points, which is toward the middle of the pack right now. It's still early, so it will be interesting to see how that pack separates itself. Every contest is big. 10 conference games. You do not play everybody. So with an unbalanced schedule, you have to take advantage of the ones that you do have, keeping in mind only 8 make the conference tournament. Meredith King takes the shot from distance, and another save for Pruner.
Yeah, good looking effort there by Meredith King, hitting that right-footed and trying to bend it into that upper right-hand corner. Hit pretty well, and we take a look at it right there. Well done by her. And yeah, you're right. And the fact that you didn't hit on there, you mentioned the pack in the middle. We don't know how that's going to go with no overtime and a lot more draws happening this year. It could really pack things up, particularly in the middle of every conference, as teams accumulate 1 point at a time, and it tends to bring everybody back together.
Yeah, that is the X factor in a lot of years, but even more so this year with no overtime, where those draws are going to happen. It changes everything. It changes, not only does each team get 1 point instead of a possible 3, but it also means that match only adds 2 points in the total for the standings as opposed to 3. And so it changes all sorts of the equation. We'll see what Central Arkansas does here. That's cleared away by Sadie Holland to Meredith King, so nothing doing yet for the Bears. But just as a minor example of that, Central Arkansas has played 4 contests, 1-2-1 as we mentioned. They have 4 points. They're 1 point ahead of Bellarmine. Bellarmine has played 3 conference games. They have all 3 ties. So their conference record is 0-0-3, and yet Bellarmine's only 1 point behind Central Arkansas. Again, plenty of soccer to be played, but some of those things may continue to reveal themselves as the year goes along.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling that it will continue to be bunched up in the middle, and then tiebreakers will have a big part in it.
And thankfully, by the time we get to that part of the season, they will tell us how the tiebreakers work. Based on certain scenarios, we won't have to calculate that, John, because we do our best up here. But boy, when you have 3 or 4 different outcomes between 3 or 4 different contests across the league on that final day, we're grateful for the ASUN Conference office to say, if this, then this. And we just repeat it verbatim.
Exactly.
Liberty with a couple of shots on goal so far. Not able to create anything here as that ball trickles out of play.
Liberty getting into a little bit of a tempo here. I felt like early on, they weren't connecting much, not playing through the midfield. Now they have the look of a team willing to knock it around a little bit more than they were doing early on. I felt like the Bears came out and played very well, and actually went into that style of play that Coach Bishop mentioned that he would like them to take on full time.
Here's a look at Nina Mazzola, a freshman on this team, so one of the newcomers who has been contributing. She started 10 of the 12 so far for Central Arkansas, and she has played in all 12. 5 shots, including 1 on goal so far. We talked about a couple of the others. We haven't called Riley Ellis's name yet, but she's out there and has already become the team leader in minutes played here in her freshman season along the back line. So an important contribution there from her, as now the whistle will blow.
Yeah, Kevin Guido, our middle official today, tried to let advantage play on there for the visitors, but that advantage did not really materialize and called the ball back.
Saw Aristigi there a moment ago, one of the freshman starters on the other side for the Flames. So both teams featuring freshmen in key roles along the back line. There's a look at Ellis right there, dishing the ball out toward the left, who we were just talking about. That's always something we talk about throughout the season, John, but especially once you get to this part of the year. What year of eligibility you are does not matter. At this point of the year, typically coaches want to figure out who is in the back line, who they trust the most, and you're going to get those minutes. We're not going to rotate or experiment too much back here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As a coach, and you know, we talk about that through the non-conference part of the schedule a lot. They're trying to find that 11, particularly the 3 or 4 they're going to play in the back. A lot of coaches do not rotate defenders during a match, and you want to get to the point where you're comfortable with that 11 that you begin with.
Lena James, one of the center backs for Liberty this year, moving into that role and growing as the season has gone along with Rebecca Ernest. Here's a ball for Garner, who tries to head it toward the goal, but that ends up wide right for a goal kick.
Yeah, our impact player right there with a good opportunity off of the head there and went a little wide.
Here's a look at some numbers coming into this one, just to provide some more context. We talked about the records, and here are some of the numbers within that. That 17 jumps out for the Flames. That's the best in the ASUN for shots per game.
Yeah, they have been very prolific at producing those opportunities, and that's led to a lot of goals. But they could be even more efficient in that finishing end. I'm sure Coach Wiedemeyer would definitely want maybe a little higher conversion rate, but they've done really well.
One of those classic matchups, if you will, strength versus strength. Liberty comes in with all of these numbers, out shooting all but 2 of its opponents so far this year. Best in the conference in shots per game, 33rd in the nation, as a matter of fact. But you look at Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas is top 10 in the nation in saves per game. And as a unit, we mentioned they've had 3 goalkeepers rotating in the mix all season long, but combined, those 3 have a save percentage of 84.8, which is 33rd in the nation. So Liberty's offense against Central Arkansas's ability to keep the ball out of the goal. Right now it's been Liberty with the ball on this end, but not able to generate too much of a threat so far. That was a good look by Garner off the ball from King, and Pruner had to scamper over to knock that down.
Yeah, within about a minute there, Garner with 2 attempts on goal off of the head, and that one was definitely hit a little better, and I believe it was on frame, which really looked good there. Good redirect by her.
Herman plays this ball back to Ainsley Leah. We have not talked about her much yet. Leah coming in 0.75 goals against average, which is second in the ASUN conference.
Yeah, Leia's had a really good year, and you know, you bring her up. I feel like Liberty has had the luxury, you know, probably the last 8 to 10 years of the program, of always having a really good goalkeeper. And as a coach, you gotta love that. You know you've got that back end taken care of, and then you build from there. And Leah has continued that tradition of really, really being good between the two uprights for Liberty.
Burkett. And the wind may have caught that one in flight a little bit as it lands beyond the touchline. That crosswind could be a factor today, John. Where Osborne Stadium is located, again, this is Central Arkansas's first visit. So for any of the Bears faithful tuning in, they may not be aware, but Liberty's campus is fairly exposed, as is, elevated up in the mountains. But then on top of that, Osborne Stadium has very little to guard against the wind when it whips through here, and it's elevated even more as a part of campus. So it can be susceptible to the conditions very quickly.
Yeah, we talk about it occasionally, the fact that Lynchburg Regional Airport is only about a mile to the west from here, and you know, it's like that wind tunnel comes right through here a lot, particularly when you've got bad weather coming in like we have here in Lynchburg this weekend.
Yeah, the outskirts of Hurricane Ian already impacting the area with wind and rain in the forecast all through the weekend. Some forecasts calling for upward of 5 to 6 inches. We'll see how it all plays out. Of course, we are thinking about all those affected already by it down in Florida, some of those devastating images. So it's something on the mind of a lot of people, sports-wise or otherwise. Here's Meredith King with the ball on the left side. Drives it across the goal mouth and right toward Ivy. Garner again. Third time they've tried to target Garner in the air and could not quite put that one on frame.
Yeah, great ball by King, and Garner had it measured up. I just don't think she could time that jump quite correctly. Got a little bit of a touch on it, but not enough to redirect it. Take a look at Meredith King on the left-footed ball played in there, and not a bad look at all.
Gabby Theus, the one who was back there defending. Aristigi tries to take a shot there. That's blocked by Bruff, player we talked about at the top of the broadcast, and now hustles back and ends up leaving it instead as Central Arkansas clears it out toward midfield. And now Bruff on the ball again. Meredith King hustles around to take it away and has it taken away by Maria Venegas, and now she's down, and a foul is going to be called on Meredith King, and we'll also see if Venegas is okay. She's still sitting on the turf.
Yeah, King proving to be a handful right here on this particular play in the midfield, really battling for the ball, and you could have called that either direction actually, and looked like King got fouled at the end of it, but the foul earlier in that little conflict in midfield is the one that got called, but good work rate by both of those players.
Venegas up to her feet and heading down. Redshirt freshman out of the nation of Colombia. Foul here. We'll give it right back to the Flames. Sadie Holland, the one who was pushed from behind. Some of the players perhaps there, some of the subs there toward the top right of your screen, starting to stretch, warm up, do some jogging in preparation of subbing in at some point. Not as easy as it was even just during the last homestand. John, we talked about the wind. We have not talked about the temperature. It is no longer in the 80s and humid when a match starts. It is now in the 60s, very cool, very brisk, and so it'll take a little bit more focus to make sure everyone's ready to go properly.
Yeah, definitely more comfortable playing condition, but you're right, it'll take a little bit more to get warmed up, make sure that you are ready to go hard when you enter the match, and that was, as you mentioned, that was not a problem up until about 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, to your point, work rate will likely increase as a result of the more favorable conditions once they are out there. We certainly saw a couple of matches late August, early September, where the heat took its toll, and that thankfully is not the case in October usually in these parts. October just a couple days away. DeRuby lines it up, and that bounces up to Pruner.
Yeah, a little bit of a hopeful effort there. Tried to wrap her left foot around it, just couldn't get much on it, falling away from the goal a little bit. But Liberty continuing the pressure, and they're playing, as a coach, you love it when they play in the attacking end, and they are doing that right now, and just looking for that one big opening where they can get that perfect opportunity.
Garner with it. Herman. Directed toward Holland. Now Aristigi has a chance, and she buries it. Side panel, Haley Aristigi with the first goal of the night.
Yeah, beautiful left-footed volley right there. I always joke around, if you give a defender an opportunity to look at goal, they're not going to look very long. They're going to take that opportunity, and she had taken one just a minute ago, but that one right there was perfectly hit. She knew she didn't have to put a lot on it, just put it in a perfect position and take a good look right here. Left-footed, right into the side panel, as you mentioned.
First career goal for Aristigi, and it gives Liberty a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, that would have to be a great relief for Coach Wiedemeyer. You know, you love to dominate a match, but you don't want to dominate a match and come up empty-handed. We talk about that a lot, that until you get that advantage, you know, the game is even, and now they've got that 1-goal lead, and they're going to want to build on that pretty quickly.
See how Central Arkansas responds as well. Now trailing, the ball has already been on this end for the bulk of the action. Mentioned Liberty 3 straight shutout victories in conference play. Central Arkansas coming into this one suffering the shutout loss at the hands of Lipscomb, a team that figures to be at the top or near the top of the standings when it's all said and done. Their other conference results: defeating Austin Peay 1-0 and falling at Eastern Kentucky 3-2. Bellarmine was a 1-1 tie to start off ASUN play. And trailing though here near the midway point of the first half. Spade keeps that in. Now Burkett. Burkett playing it for Spade. Drops it off to Garner. Now a ball driven toward the goal. Meredith King was the one in the area, but Pruner, standing in between the two, catches it cleanly.
Yeah, great work from Liberty in the midfield there. They just knocked the ball around, waited for that good opportunity. Garner found an opening to play one into the area, and they look like they're going to be playing very patiently right now, and they play well. When they get their midfield involved and knock it around, they are a hard team to defend.
There's Aristigi again, the freshman with her first goal. Now trying to play it to a teammate. Burkett was in that area. DeRuby on it now. And the whistle here is going to go against the Flames.
Yeah, early on, Aristigi has been getting up into the attack. We really haven't gotten to watch Herman get into that attack, but she loves to get into that area too. And they are very effective when their outside defenders can come in and contribute as they attack that final third.
Kelly Van Gundy with it for a moment, giving it up. Now Bruff with it along the touchline. It'll be a throw in for Liberty.
Yeah, you were talking about the players warming up over there, and Yeah, we didn't really mention the fact that with the hot weather that they've been playing in, they've been rotating a lot, and it'll be interesting tonight if they rotate that much.
Burkett with his second goal for Liberty.
That was almost an identical goal right there to the opening goal. Another left-footed volley timed up by Burkett perfectly. Put it into that right-hand panel there, and just like that, Liberty is up 2-0. Great ball by Garner. Burkett read it perfectly, patiently finished that ball right there.
A little bit closer to the goal from where she struck it, but you're right, it was almost like deja vu. Hit that nearly exact same spot in the netting. I thought, do we already see this, or is this happening again? Burkett makes it 2-0 for the Flames.
Yeah, really well done by both of those goal scorers. At, you know, patiently timing up that volley, not trying to rush it, and keeping it on frame.
We can say confidently right now that puts Burkett in a tie for the conference lead in goals, because the conference leader had 5 playing for Lipscomb, and they have not started yet. So Burkett coming in with 4 goals, has her 5th of the year, which is tied for the best in the A-Sun at this moment. Lipscomb does start in about a half hour. They will have a conference matchup this evening, and one that I'm sure all of the A-Sun will be looking at that result afterward, as Lipscomb is the only team so far to earn all 3 points every time out. They are 3-0 and facing Eastern Kentucky, another team that will factor into the top half of the standings. They're playing them, like I said, about a half hour from now. Throw in for Liberty on the far side.
Liberty has the luxury right now of having, not just a player or two that's playing well. They have a handful of players and that are really contributing, and we're getting to watch them kind of come into their own. We talked about our player to watch, our impact player, Ivy Garner. McKinley Burkett, you were just talking about her having a great year, and the kind of year that she's really leading the team on the field. You've got Sadie Holland, a newcomer to the team, who's playing very well. Right here, we can watch her get involved on this corner kick. They like to target her in the air right here. And, just a lot of players. Meredith King having a great year. Rachel DeRuby, called out by Coach Wiedemeyer as, one of the most impactful players for them right now. And it's a great luxury when you have that many players that are just contributing in a big way. Bridie Herman, outside defender, another player who's really, really played well. And really, Kyle, you can talk about the whole back line for Liberty. They have, as you've mentioned, their defensive numbers, and that's a product of all 4 of them working together, along with their goalkeeper, who's having a great year and getting a lot of clean sheets right now. And Meredith King creating opportunity right now.
Ruby trying to follow up, and Burkett looking for King again. King makes a turn, tries to angle a shot toward that near post. Now Burkett on it. Herman finds Garner right at the top of the 18. Now Burkett, the left-footed shot that bends just wide. So a goal kick for Central Arkansas, and some subs coming in. That'll give us a chance to check in with third member of our broadcast team, Sophia Bucci.
Thanks, guys. As we have seen, Bridie Herman has been a key impact player this season. Not only does she contribute greatly defensively, but she also contributes greatly offensively, as we have seen in her goal against Kennesaw. Not only that, but she also has been named this week's A-Sun Defensive Player of the Week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sophia. There's that goal right there against the Owls. That was the first of 2 for Liberty in that recent victory. We come back to live action. Players down for Central Arkansas. So we'll see who that is once we can identify the player. Hopefully they're okay. Stops the clock with 17:04 remaining in this first half. Liberty with the 2-goal advantage. Bridie Herman, the ASUN Defensive Player of the Week, as Sophia just mentioned. Nice recognition for her, transferring in from the University of Tennessee. Here's a look at the contact that led to this.
Yeah, really inadvertent contact right there. Ava Goodman got tripped up and just fell into the back of the player there.
It appears though Riley Ellis is the player shaken up, which again, she comes in leading the team in minutes as a freshman. She has started every single contest and has been out there for the full 90 for a good portion of those. She's up to her feet, so that's good to see, but Ellis will have to sub out in a rare situation here. See if she's able to come back in pretty soon or not.
Hopefully she'll be able to come back on the field. They're going to need her tonight, and you mentioned a key player for them and a young player, you know, up and coming freshman, getting all those minutes.
Also a local product out of Sherwood, Arkansas. Went to North Little Rock High School. So you see quite a few actually from Arkansas, Texas, really that geographic area on the roster. Jeremy Bishop, you see right there, head coach, a local product as well, if you will, growing up in the Little Rock area and now leading this Central Arkansas squad. And there's Lang Wiedemeyer at the helm for Liberty.
Yeah, Lang looking like he's ready for the oncoming cold weather there, as he's gone with the long khakis tonight. Maybe a little early for that, I'm not sure.
Says the guy who spends every single contest observing from a 72-degree climate-controlled booth.
I call the game from where they tell me to call the game. If it was up to me, I'd be out there on the touchline.
Yeah, that's fair. I know you would. I do believe that.
But no, just joking with Coach Wiedemeyer a little before the match about him opting for the long pants tonight. But looking at the temperature right now, he made a good decision.
Another chance for Liberty, looking for a third, but offside is the call here. It was Allison Hansford just a little bit behind the back line when that ball was played to her.
Yeah, Goodman with a real good look right there and tried to pick out Hansford, and yeah, Hansford just drifted a little bit too far before that ball got played, and unfortunately for her, got behind the defender and in front of the ball.
So a few subs. We mentioned Liberty had plenty of subs coming in. Central Arkansas with a few as well. Hansford, one of the new names out there for the Flames. Bree Myers subbing in during that last stretch. Ava Goodman, we've called her name as well a few times. She subbed in a tad earlier, but she came off the bench for LU. Amy Slovak is out there now for the Flames as well, among a few other subs.
Yeah, a lot of players coming in, and we talked about the rotation Coach Wiedemeyer has been going with, and you and I know from watching them play a lot, they are contributing when they come in the match. They're no let up and play at all, and some really good players coming in off the bench for them.
Meanwhile, a couple of the subs for Central Arkansas. We see Alyssa Altman out there right now for the Bears. Allison Camper also came in for Ellis when she left after being shaken up. And a couple of the new players out there for the Bears. Emma Ream right there. As part of that, draws the foul. Ream subbed in. She's a freshman, also locally out of Greenbrier, Arkansas. Ball skips past Engel, who's subbed in as well. Allie Engel, third in the conference with 28 shots this season.
Yep, got her first goal of her collegiate career last week, and that was good to see, because as you mentioned, she had been very prolific in creating the opportunity and able to finish one up.
Talking to Lang Wiedemeyer earlier this season, had hopes that she'd be one of those players once they get the first one, the dam bursts, if you will, and then the floodgates open. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not, but that's certainly somewhat typical. You see, once that stress or relief, anxiety, whatever you want to say happens there, but once all that is lifted off the shoulders and you can just go play soccer again, and it makes a big difference. Aristiki just had her first career goal earlier today, and she's playing with all sorts of confidence.
She really is, and tried to pick out Engel on the back post right there with a good run that she made, and good look at that there.
You saw Engel right there, ready for it if Pruner did not make the play, but Kaisha Pruner's been pretty solid back there so far. 4 saves, has allowed a couple of goals. We'll see how Central Arkansas chooses to play it. Foul is going to be called here on Myers, who guided Abby Gibson away.
Take a look at the challenge there by Myers. I thought maybe she got the ball, but maybe she clipped that left leg a little bit from behind there. Myers, one of the players that just came into the match, a player that we've really come to appreciate, Kyle. Her work rate, her ability to have an effect on the match in a hurry when she comes in.
Speaking of local products, she's from just about an hour down the road, a sophomore on this team out of Troutville, Virginia. How long does it take you to get there, John?
About 55 minutes.
Okay.
I don't want to be too exact, but about 55.
Yeah. Now that's fair, because they are watching on that highway to see who gets there a little bit quicker than that. Well, I just was wondering, your facial expression when I said about an hour, as if I just pulled a number out of the air.
No, you were pretty accurate there. If you catch the wrong traffic, you're going to be about an hour.
Yeah.
Now she went to Lord Botetourt High School.
You are correct.
Number 24, Tristan Pavetta.
Goodman makes a turn, now working up the far side here. Continues the run into the area and trying to thread it over to Hansford, who is right near the penalty spot. Instead, it'll be played away by Central Arkansas for a throw-in.
Yeah, unfortunately for Goodman, after that great run, kind of lost her footing at the end of that run. You're right, she tried to pick out her teammate there, and made it just a great run. The defender is unable to catch her from behind, and showed you a little bit of her athletic ability.
Liberty wasting no time, right back at it offensively. Engel working hard with it now. Leaves it for James. Ernest. Liberty will switch it over to the right side momentarily. Now plays it to Holland, and that pass from Holland split between Goodman and Slovak. Neither one had a chance at it. Central Arkansas has it now. Taylor Lassiter with it for a moment. The Bears will try to go to work and cut this deficit in half. Once again for Central Arkansas, time of possession is short-lived. Liberty once again on the ball and moving the other way.
Yeah, they're not only controlling possession, but they are attacking with it. They are not just knocking it around the midfield and killing time.
Hansford with it right now. Goodman. It skips on through to Engel, but she was offside, so nothing doing there for the Flames.
Yeah, it looked to be a couple yards offsides right there. Just unfortunately got caught in behind the defenders. Yeah, it took off a little early. Read the play well, though. I mean, exactly the run you want your attacker to make right there. Made it just a touch early.
Foul here on Liberty. Less than 10 minutes to go in this first half. There you see Emma Ream, again, a freshman who's been seeing minutes so far this year. There's Annie Slovak, a junior on this team, with one career start and 33 career appearances with the Flames, but this year especially 13 games career high for her for one season, and she's been providing some quality minutes when she's been out there.
Yeah, definitely coming into every match she comes into, Kyle, you're calling her name pretty quickly, and that's always a good thing. You tell your players when they come into a match, you want to know that they're playing, and Annie does a really good job of making her presence known out on the field.
Tristan Pavat here for Central Arkansas, a freshman, and she's as local as it gets. She's from Conway, Arkansas, so playing right for the Division I school in her backyard. Now Allison Camper with it here for the Bears. Pass for Gibson. Gibson, nice job eluding Bree Myers, and now playing it up to Pavat. Pavat settled it for a moment, and a tremendous play by Aristigi to take it away and now have some room to bring it forward.
You know, all around, Aristigi having a great match. We talked about her goal already, a couple of runs that she's made into the attacking third, but right here, ball on ball defending, and really did a great job of reaching in and winning that ball.
Gibson. James from Liberty the first to that ball. Now Ernest. Another chance for the Flames. Goodman looking for Hansford. Hansford has it now. Hansford takes the shot. Nice job by a couple of Bears defenders to block that. Flames still with it. Here's Hansford, another chance for her, and it misses just wide right.
Really good ball by Engel, played right there. Got her head up, picked her team out, hit a perfect ball. Unfortunately, Hansford unable to get that on frame, but really good work here.
Now in for the Bears, number 11, Abby Johnson.
Abby Johnson subbing in for Central Arkansas.
Now in for the Flames, number 15, Lauren Landry.
And Lauren Landry comes in for Liberty at the same time. And speaking of, here's Landry, the redshirt freshman. Myers over to Slovak. Now Herman comes up to it. Slovak.
Don't let it turn, drop, Abby, drop, Abby!
Goodman trying to chip it up to Engel, but that carries past her and out of play.
Yeah, Goodman unable to get the proper weight on that ball that she tried to play there to Engel, but a good look, good idea as they continue to work. And that's a look at Abby Gibson. And, you know, Kyle, you talked about her a little bit, and look at her numbers right there. She's just an all-everything player for this team. We could have made her the player to watch today very easily. It was almost too obvious, actually. But just a player that they're going to need right now, you know, later as they get into this match. They're going to need her to maybe take over a little bit, create for them. They need to get back into the match if they can. And if they do, it'll probably be through her play.
Yellow card there for Annie Slovak for this aggressive challenge from behind.
Yeah, just challenging the air directly into the back of the player. Not a whole lot of attempt to get to the ball right there. That'll earn you a yellow card for sure. And the fact that she led with her elbow a little bit, that's another thing a referee will be looking for.
Back to Gibson for a moment. We were talking about her. Jeremy Bishop, as we talk about throughout the season, we have the privilege of talking to so many wonderful coaches and just hearing different philosophies, different thoughts, different ways they describe their players. But the one thing he said about Abby Gibson that perhaps another coach has said before, but it was just the way he said it and the way you immediately believed it. He said, quote, "She's everything for us. She's scoring goals on set pieces, a true box to box, everything that goes into it. She is everything for us. And just the way he said that, you're right, it almost at that point seemed too obvious. It's like, boy, but senior leader on this team who's done a lot and has a couple of goals so far this season.
Yeah, she's probably the player to watch in a lot of matches that they play in. And you know, at one point we even, you know, mentioned to Coach Bishop, well, tell us who's maybe a player that that's behind the scenes a little bit, working hard, doing the hard things, and he told us it was probably Bishop doing that too.
Gibson.
I'm sorry.
Goodman plays it across, and that's knocked down by Landry, who will take a shot. That sails high. We assume Bishop is working hard as well as the coach.
He is, but he's probably not doing it on the field during the match.
And he probably didn't toot his own horn on the conference call.
Take a look here at Landry. Good job of picking up that poorly cleared ball and trying to get it on frame.
Central Arkansas trying to get anything going forward. That was Emily Russell-Littman with it for a moment, and once again comes back to Pruner, who tries to drive it toward midfield, but it just keeps coming right back her direction. It's never gone for long. Liberty back at it again. The numbers in this case, John, truly tell the entire story. We'll have the halftime stats coming up in a moment, but you almost just have to look ahead and say, wow, right now Central Arkansas does not have a single shot, let alone a shot on goal. Just no shots registered. Meanwhile, Liberty 10 shots, 6 have been on goal, and of course 2 have ultimately counted for the Flames in this first half.
Yeah, and really kind of a continuation of how they've been playing. We talked about the fact that they just came off of a little road trip 2-0 and how well they played, and continuing it at home. And we mentioned the fact that they are very comfortable playing at home, and they have shown that already big time tonight.
Hansford turns back, now has a chance here, bringing it toward the goal, shoots and scores.
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful goal right there. Just a great turn with the ball at her feet, just rolled the defender behind her, came in point blank on the goalkeeper. Another left-footed goal. That's our third left-footed goal of the night. And we'll take a look at her work on the ball. This is really good work. Look at that pullback, left the defender behind her, and right here beat the keeper right through the wickets. And Pruner would like to have that one back, but from that range, it's hard to blame a goalkeeper.
Third career goal for Allison Hansford, the freshman from Athens, Tennessee, and that one may stay toward the top of her highlight reel for her rest of her career.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is a highlight goal right there, and just well done by her, patiently but then effectively finishing that goal.
We're talking about Central Arkansas trying to mount any kind of momentum, something to hang the hat on during the halftime conversation going into the second half. Of course, best case scenario, trying to cut the deficit from 2-1. Instead, the deficit has ballooned, and now it's at 3 goals here with less than 2 minutes until intermission. And once again, Liberty is back in the attacking third. This time, though, it will become a goal kick.
Yeah, tonight may be one of those rare opportunities for Coach Wiedemeyer to rotate in a couple of defenders. And we talked about the fact that most coaches do not rotate defenders very often, but tonight could be an opportunity for that if it continues the way it's going right now.
James back to Ernest. Aristiki's still out there as well. Still playing all those minutes for the Flames here in this first half along that back line, along with Bridie Herman before that began the contest. James playing that ball in the air, and now Central Arkansas will have it here. Russell-Littman giving it up. And once again taken away by Liberty. Comes back out toward Russell-Littman, but once again the Flames with it. And ball looking for Hansford. That's taken away by Altman.
Yeah, you mentioned that ball taken away from the Bears in the attacking end. That was Hallie Engel working all the way back from her attacking position to defend that.
Bree Myers trying to hustle on to that one here in the final stages of the first half. Now Slovak with it for a moment.
10,
Pavat
9,
races
8,
over to
8,
it. Pavat
7, 6,
doesn't have
5,
time to do much with
4,
it.
3,
And the first
2,
half comes to
1.
a close. Liberty with 3 goals.
Highway during really bad weather.
You see Kayla Perez there. She will be the goalkeeper for this second half, at least to start it for Central Arkansas. 9th appearance of the year for her. She's had a couple of starts. 82.8 save percentage. 24 saves for this program so far this year. First half, Kaisha Pruner was in there, the sophomore out of Sweden, who came in with a 1.5 goals against average, saving 86% of the shots on goal, but she allowed 3 and now a switch. But again, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, this is actually commonplace. It would have been unusual not to switch goalkeepers at halftime based on the box scores that we saw from Central Arkansas. Here's King on it at first, and it's knocked back and forth. And now it comes out to midfield and whistle for handling.
Yeah, you talked about the goalkeeper rotation that Coach Bishop is using right now. Unusual in that it's 3 goalkeepers right now getting, fairly equal time, 2 of them in particular. And Coach Bishop also mentioned that he'd like to get down to a 2-keeper rotation, and tonight may contribute to that. We don't know, and maybe we'll catch the 3rd keeper tonight, not sure.
Yeah, and you saw that. That's actually Kinstel, beg your pardon, with coming in, and Perez being one of the other ones who has played, as well as Pruner. They all have 270+ minutes so far in goal this season coming into today, with the most on the team being 360 minutes. So again, all 3 have been in that same range of playing time. And now Kinstel may be challenged here, coming up with King. Out to Herman. Back to King.
Great ball by Herman right there. King a little unfortunate on that touch, or I think she could have freed herself up for a good look.
Now Herman playing it across again, and just off the mark. Sadie Holland was right there for the Flames and just missed the cross angle shot.
Yeah, perfectly timed run by Holland. We almost had our 4th left-footed goal of the night.
Yeah.
Really good looking ball played in by Herman.
Holland with 4 goals this season, including a game winner, so among the league leaders as well in the ASUN Conference. Aristigi with one of the goals in the first half. Now to Ruby. A lot of patience here by the Flames, working it up that left side very methodically. Now eventually taken away by the Bears. But again, this is where the challenge occurs for Central Arkansas, John. It's one thing to clear it initially, but now Central Arkansas needs to get something going toward its attacking 3rd.
Yeah, and they have not done that more than a time or 2 tonight, and right here having a hard time getting through their midfield area, under pressure by Liberty, trying to turn them over. And you mentioned Garner with her deliberate type of attack, and it's one of the qualities that she has a player, the ability to attack at speed, but then at times to be very deliberate, able to hold defenders off with the ball at her feet. Part of what makes her really effective, and the more we watch her play, we get a better idea of how she's going to go about her work and really coming into her own.
That was a foul there on Anna Kerr that you saw. And Garner coming in with some international experience, the U20 Puerto Rico national team. Here she is from distance, and that is shut down by Kinstill.
Yeah, hit it pretty well initially there. I think it took a little deflection off a defender, which took a little bit of the heat off of that shot. But
DeRuby with it now. Flames right back to work. This is DeRuby moving past one, now hesitates and leaves it for Garner. DeRuby once again for Garner. And it becomes a corner kick.
Yeah, good little two-man game right there by DeRuby and Garner out there on the left touch line, and just willing to keep playing each other until they had that opening, and then Garner able to earn the corner.
Second of the day for the Flames. None for Central Arkansas. It's Herman over there. Herman does have an assist on the goal by Aristigi in the first half. That was the first goal of the day. Then Burkett scored, assisted by Garner. This ball comes out toward Ernest. Now DeRuby. DeRuby clearing some space initially, finding King. Great job by Garner in traffic there, finding Ernest.
Really good communication there by Liberty. You could hear it on the audio, all the talking going on, telling each other where to play the ball, where the pressure is coming from.
Now a shot, and that's just off to the right for Meredith King.
Things have picked up right where they left off in the opening half, and Liberty continuing to dominate in the attacking end and making it hard for Central Arkansas to get any kind of attack going.
Bridie Herman kept that in. Now King again. Holland to DeRuby, right back. Looking for Garner. We talked about that crosswind today. Central Arkansas has to feel as though it's just been a headwind the entire night, both halves somehow. It's just kept the ball stationed in their defending end for a lot of the night. Now Kinstill will give a little bit of relief to the back line here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to borrow a term that you and I used earlier in the year, and right now Liberty is just playing proper football. I mean, they are going about it the way any coach would be happy with, and continuing that level of play throughout the entire match at this point, and just they got to be very happy with the way the match has gone, but not only that, the way they played and gone about it.
Van Gundy's pass was intended for Brough, but a little too much heat on that. Goes off of Brough and out of play. The senior out of Ontario has a goal and an assist this year. One of those hard-working players as well that Jeremy Bishop talked about within this program. This is a program that in the Southland Conference won in 2016 and won in 2018 the conference title, and as we talked about earlier, now in its second year in the A-Sun Conference, and hit the ground running last year, being co-champs in the A-Sun West Division. That's something else we did not talk about when we were talking about the conference standings, John. But with the expansion, and now with 14 teams in the A-Sun Conference, another component of that, if fans have not heard yet or are unaware, not only is it 10 games, so everyone is playing a different combination of 10 conference opponents, so it's an unbalanced schedule. On top of that, there are no longer any divisions. So the top 8 make the bracket at the end of conference play. out of the 14. And so it is a free-for-all in that sense as well. There's no longer an East Division or a West Division where you can be better than teams geographically close to you. You have to be better than everybody. Here's perhaps the best chance developing for Central Arkansas. Leah makes her first shot of the day as Central Arkansas finally puts one on goal.
Yeah, really good looking attack by them, and connecting on that final ball in the attacking third, creating that shot opportunity. And Leah finally gets the opportunity to make a big time stop and comes up big for Liberty.
That was Nina Mazzola who was able to find the angle after getting past Herman enough, the freshman out of Flower Mound, Texas, looking for her first career goal. But Leah makes the save instead.
Yeah, good build up right there. Central Arkansas able to get through the midfield pretty quickly and then connected well on that final ball.
Thea steps in and takes it away for the Bears. That's Riley Ellis there a moment ago. Good to see her back out there after she was shaken up in the first half. Liberty looking to threaten again. Herman crosses past Mazzola, now moves past Van Gundy as well. Gets it back to her right foot. Finds Garner. Pass deflected toward the goal. Castell coming out to get to it before Grace Spade could arrive.
Yeah, good example of why you have to be brave to be a goalkeeper right here. Castell able to come out, read that ball, but knew potential contact coming from the attacking player. Did a good job of hanging on to it.
A throw in for Central Arkansas. Gabby Theus throws it in quickly.
So within a minute after Liberty giving up that quality attempt to Central Arkansas, I thought, yeah, maybe they're going to let up a little bit here, but then they create that opportunity by really good work through the midfield, changed the point of attack, and that's what created that opportunity.
Central Arkansas with a throw in. Addison Martin throwing it in for the Bears. Now Liberty with it again. Burkett, who had one of the goals. We started to run down the scoring summary. We did not intend to slight Allison Hansford. We mentioned the first two goals and assist combinations. Hansford's was unassisted in the 43rd minute, as it shows up in the box score right now.
Yeah, beautiful goal in its own right. All three of them very well done goals, well earned, the way that you want your team to get a goal, and you know, really kind of building, as we mentioned, on the way Liberty has been playing for about 2 weeks now, and they continue to improve each time they go out.
Yeah, I suppose that was the 43rd minute. I was trying to remember the time but it was toward the end of the first half. So it is right around when the goals were scored. Aristiki in the 21st minute, Burkett in the 24th minute, and Hansford toward the end of the first half for a 3-0 lead for Liberty. Just about 13+ minutes into this second half. Here's another look at this call right here.
Take a look at Garner here. Beautiful footwork, you know, along the touch line here. Watch her here. She's going to, I believe, come up with a Meg on her defender and just clipped her behind her back, actually, but then got called for the foul. But just an, you know, example of how creative Liberty is being in the attacking end. Garner coming all the way over from the opposite side of the field to get involved in that play. And you know, as a coach, I love to encourage my players to, in the offensive end, rotate freely. You know, you don't have to be locked into a left, right, or central position. Rotate freely as the flow of play would dictate. Really good job of her by doing that right there.
We've seen Meredith King already in this half on the left side a couple of times. Now back on the right side. We more often see her. Garner right here on that left side as this ball goes out. And throw in quickly for Central Arkansas. That ends up going out and becoming a throw in for LU. Aristigi. Central Arkansas will throw it in with Martin. Had her second start of the season. When we talk about lineups and finding those combinations, John, that's an example. Addison Martin, a sophomore on this team who's played in 11 of the team's 12 now by playing in this one, but she started today. It was only her second start, so there's still obviously some fluidity. Now, some of that is injuries as well. Gracie Hare, who's been a solid contributor and a grad student for this year's team, is out with an injury, who had made 6 starts prior to not being available. So in all fairness, Central Arkansas is down a couple of key players as well, but there's also that element of still trying to figure out which 11 gives this team the best chance, not just at the start, but also throughout the course of the contest.
Yeah, I think right now you bring that up, and it's a good point, because a little bit of a difference in the way each program is heading. Yeah, I feel like Coach Wiedemeyer has come up with his rotation he's comfortable with, and they're playing it out that way pretty much every match. And as you mentioned, Coach Bishop might be looking for more of a definitive rotation for his team.
One of the things he said in the conversation earlier this week, and it stands out as well tonight, he just said we need consistency for 90 minutes. Now, again, you'll hear that on a lot of calls. Coaches say that a lot as you look at the beautiful, picturesque sunset beyond Osborne Stadium. But it was the way he said it where you really took it to heart, and you could tell that really is a driving point right now, that finding that consistency for 90 minutes is going to have a bigger, perhaps, influence on their results than it does when other coaches say it.
Yeah, and tonight, not a really good indicator for them. They have walked into Liberty here tonight and run into a team that is really hitting on every aspect of the game, and it's hard to develop consistency when you're playing a team playing the way Liberty is currently at the moment, and not at all what Coach Bishop was hoping for tonight. You mentioned 90 minutes. Tonight, he would just like to have 5 or 10 minutes come together well for them. And see a hard foul on Bree Myers there as she attempted to turn out of the midfield.
That was Abby Gibson you saw heading back the other way. Another look at it.
Pretty hard shove in the back there on Myers, and as we talked about, coming into the match and working hard right away and becoming involved.
This is Ava Goodman and now Annie Slovak, so a couple of subs already for LU here.
Rotating in maybe a little earlier than they normally would in a half, and we talked about that at half, you and I, Kyle, that it might change a little bit tonight. Coach Wiedemeyer, 3-0 lead, may want to maybe give his first 11 a few less minutes than he normally would, get them ready for the upcoming match. And when you can bring players in off the bench like Liberty does, you can do that without much of a let up at all.
Liberty anticipates hosting North Alabama Sunday at 1 o'clock. That is weather permitting, while Central Arkansas will be at Queens University in Charlotte, North Carolina at noon. That'll be match up with a couple of the newer